So love who you love, love don't care anyhow. It don't care if you're black or white. Don't care if you're young or old. Love don't care if you're rich or poor. And you need somebody to hold. Welcome to the show. I, of course, am the white guy.
I'm the black guy.
That's right. And I'm also from the red team. He's from the blue team, which isn't unusual in America. Tend to vote these kind of ways. But the purpose of this show is to try to be a little different. It's not so much to beat up on each other as to maybe learn from each other and also explain a little bit of why we the culture we're in, the things that we enjoy, the way we vote, why we believe certain things, and hopefully my purpose and one of the things I've enjoyed over the years with Alonzo is learning a little bit about other people, other races, other cultures, and things. And there's good reasons why people become political or they believe things or gravitate to certain things. And hopefully you will enjoy that sort of format. I think we've known each other since 2010, 2011, somewhere around when Obama and Romney were duking it out. I think maybe you were a friend with one of Steve Holcomb's buddies, one of our schoolmate buddies. Alonzo and I both went to high school. I don't know if you grew up in Middle Georgia.
I did.
Went to high school in Middle Georgia.
Northside.
He went to Northside. I believe you went to Northside.
That's right. I went to Northside.
Yeah, and I was with one of Robin's Demons. And so anyway, with that background, the show it's going to have some political moments. There's going to be some cultural moments. Probably be some things where if you're listening to this and you're more slanted one way or the other, you're going to get frustrated, or maybe you'll find, wow, it's weird. Mike, agrees with Alonzo on that subject, but and vice versa. But a lot of times people see us posting on Facebook, and we have some pretty cool discussions. So I thought it was a great idea to join forces and maybe bring some of those discussions in more of a, I don't know, just a more organized format like this. So welcome to the show. We kind of kicked around what we thought would be good subjects today, and there's plenty to choose from. Some of the subjects are fun. Some of the subjects are exciting. Some of the subjects can seem at first like what is going on? But things reveal themselves if you do a little digging. One of the things that I've noticed this year, there's really some big news. I'm going to start off with Donald Trump and his quest, what seems like his quest to dominate the entire world. Or at least that's what it sounds like on the news. But, he's talking about renaming the Gulf of Mexico. And, the way the news would have you believe it, he's ready to use military forces to reclaim the Panama Canal and to march into Greenland and take it from Denmark. And he's going to force those evil Canadians to be part of the United States. I don't know. Maybe Alonzo hasn't looked at it that way or hasn't seen it, but it's been a pretty interesting week. I think that this is an overall strategy by Trump. I don't know. You can like the guy or not like the guy, but my thoughts on Trump is that he's always been America first, and that this is sort of trying to reclaim American dominance near where we are. If you notice, all these places are, they're in our hemisphere. I mean, it's either above America or below America. Greenland is fairly close, and I'll do a couple audio clips on this, but before we do all that, I don't know, Alonzo, have you been hearing him and going, what is this guy doing? Why does he want to rename the Gulf of Mexico? I'm curious your thoughts on it.
First and foremost, man, I mean, when he does stuff like this, man, it goes in one ear and out the other, man. Kind of knows a bunch of BS because nothing's going to happen. So, I mean, he might say these things because, that's what his base wants to hear. And it riles them up. Fine. Yeah. But we're not going to invade Canada. All right. We're not going to invade Greenland or take Greenland from Denmark. All right. We're not going to go and invade and take over the Panama Canal. I already know this, and it's a waste of time, it's a waste of space. It's a waste of brain power to even entertain this kind of stuff, man, because, these are things that just can't happen. Just like if the president of Mexico said, okay, we're going to take America back because, Texas and Arizona and California were all part of Mexico before, so we're taking all that shit back. All right, and we're going to do it tomorrow. We know it's not going to happen. All right.
What?
Canada
Yeah.
is
What?
not going to allow. We can't go across the Canadian border with our armed forces, man, and take over Canada. All right. The world is not built that way anymore. Back in the in the 1400s, maybe you could do that. Maybe you can go and conquer Canada or whatever, man. It is just one man, spouting his, I can't even say ideologies, man. I really don't know where it comes from and why. All right, but it's just a waste of time, effort, and space.
Here's what I think it is, and it's not a waste of time for Trump. It's a strategy. If you watch him over the years, it's pure Trump. I do believe he's trying to reignite. Uh, by the way, I'm not some Trump. Everything he does is right. Everything the man walks on water. I think that I'm going to probably be irritated quite a bit with some of the stuff that he has already said he's going to do, and some of the things that they're probably not going to touch. But well, let's just listen. Let's just listen to him. We'll hear what he has to say.
No, I liked him as a man. I disagreed with his policy. So, hey, he thought giving away the Panama Canal was a good thing. I think it cost him the election. That and the hostages. I actually think that was a bigger factor because that's a deal that just should not have been made. But again, this was a question that was asked of me. I didn't bring it up. I didn't want to bring up the Panama Canal because of Jimmy Carter's death. But people don't bring it up. But you and other people have asked me about it. No, it's a deal that I was very strongly against. I was a young guy when this took place, but just why would we spend all of that money, lose 38,000 people to malaria, the mosquito? They were dying. It was horrible what was happening. They paid them 4 times more than they would make in the United States, but they knew they were going to go over there and die. And they died in the jungles of malaria. There was nothing we could do to stop it. 38,000, and then we gave it away for $1.
Yeah, I think what he's trying to do here is just pressure whoever is in charge of how they charge for shipping, freight, whatever. It's a strategy, and he's done that. He was going off on Trudeau at the end of the year there, and this whole talking about making Canada uh, another state, and then you see that within 2 weeks Trudeau has resigned. I'm not saying that that's all Trump. Trudeau has his own issues, but here, let's listen about Canada real quick.
Because Canada and the United States, that would really be something. You get rid of that artificially drawn line, and you take a look at what that looks like. And it would also be much better for national security. Don't forget, we basically protect Canada. But here's the problem with Canada. We don't need anything. So why are we losing $200 billion a year and more to protect Canada? We have a right not to help them with their financial difficulties because we owe $36 trillion too. We're going to start knocking it out pretty fast, but we're going to be able to do it because of energy and other things. But why are we supporting a country 200 billion plus a year? Our military is at their disposal. All of these other things, they should be a state. That's why I told Trudeau when he came down, I said, what would happen if we didn't do it? He said Canada would dissolve. Canada wouldn't be able to function if we didn't take their 20% of our car market. So I said to him, well, why are we doing it? He said, I don't really know. He was unable to answer the question, but I can answer it. We're doing it because of habit, and we're doing it because we like our neighbors, and we've been good neighbors, but we can't do it forever, and it's a tremendous amount of money.
I think once again, it's a strategy. I'm not sure where we're going to go with Canada, but it sounds like he's going to be pressuring them for something. Are they going to turn into another state for the United States? I think I'm on board with your theory. We're probably not going to. Although, in history, there's been some pretty big events that happen. You're right. It's a different time now. So I don't know how often nations merge or whatever else, but it's a strategy. He did this with NATO in his first term to try to get them to pay more into, their own defense, because America is footing the bill on a lot of this stuff. So anyway, I'll pop a couple more and then we'll move on to the next subject. But the Greenland thing, to me, that is just a giant ice block. I think there's like in that, it's a pretty big landmass, but it's more about where it's at and maybe more because I think only like 30,000 people live in Greenland or something like that. I'm not kidding. It's not, I mean, there's more people in the city that I'm in right now than the entire nation of Greenland. I think I'm right about that. Yeah. So anyway, let's hear what he says about Greenland.
Yeah, it's pretty.
We need Greenland for
strong
national security purposes. I've been told that for a long time, long before I even ran. I mean, people have been talking about it for a long time. You have approximately 45,000 people there. People really don't even know if Denmark has any legal right to it. But if they do, they should give it up because we need it for national security. That's for the free world. I'm talking about protecting the free world. You look at, you don't even need binoculars. You look outside, you have China ships all over the place. You have Russian ships all over the place. We're not letting that happen. We're not letting it happen. And if Denmark wants to get to a conclusion, but nobody knows if they even have any right, title, or interest. The people are going to probably vote for independence or to come into the United States. But if they did do that, then I would tariff Denmark at a very high level.
Have you asked your staff to draw plans for acquisition? I mean, are you acting?
No, we're not at that stage, but we have people. I haven't even entered office yet.
Yeah, again, I think it's going to be more about national defense joining with what looks like might be coming is a Greenland that wants to have its own nation away from Denmark. I don't know that they want America to take them over or whatever, but I'm sure they would have the overtures from our nation would be useful to them. But I think we might even already have some kind of military something there. I don't know. I'd have to look it up. The last one, it really did kind of make me laugh, the whole Gulf of America thing. I think this is just Trump trolling. But as again, I think there's a strategy involved. This will be my last clip on it, and we'll move on here shortly. But the whole point here is what looks like a bunch of insane stuff is just typical Trump strategy stuff. Whether you like this or don't like it, or think it'll work or it won't work, I guess we'll see. And as time goes on, we can see how these things work out. He's not even in office, like he just said. So it's pretty cool to watch certain things happening. To me right now, he seems to be what people are calling the president, though. I mean, Biden is, I think most people have just sort of, he's checked out. But anyway, let's check this out on the Gulf of America.
And we're going to be announcing a future date pretty soon. We're going to change because we do most of the work there and it's ours. We're going to be changing sort of the opposite of Biden, where he's closing everything up, essentially getting rid of $50 to $60 trillion worth of assets. We're going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America,
which has a beautiful ring.
That covers
a lot of territory.
The Gulf of America. What a beautiful name.
And it's appropriate.
It's appropriate.
And Mexico
has to stop allowing millions of people to pour into our country. They can stop them.
And we're going
to put very serious tariffs on Mexico and Canada, because Canada, they come through Canada too, and the drugs that are coming through are at record numbers.
Again, I think it's a strategy. So only reason I thought this was probably pretty good subject is because, and I don't know why it happens, but on my Facebook and some of the social media, because I comment a lot of times, I do get a lot of what I would call left-wing suggestion posts. Facebook picks posts for you sometimes, or will show you a page or something, and it'll be interesting to see people who are obviously on a different political aisle than me, how they comment on these things, and it's often not built on anything of substance, like national defense, or the fact that we basically shed a lot of blood and money to make the Panama Canal, and then we sold it away for $1, and then now we get charged more than anybody. It's kind of crazy. I don't know if you know much about that. Maybe we can do a show about that one day. The Panama Canal is actually pretty interesting. But for me, it is. I'm kind of a history nut. One of the things.
Back it up for a second, man. Back it up for a damn second, man. Because this whole Gulf of America thing, man, that is about as useless. Okay, All right. Who cares what that body of water is called? Okay. What does it change? You can call it the Gulf of fucking Pluto for what I care. What does it change? Nothing. All right. Gulf of Mexico, Gulf of America, Gulf of Russia, Gulf of my asshole. It doesn't matter. All right. My coffee's going to taste the same in the morning, whether it's the Gulf of Mexico or the Gulf of America. All right. So
well,
spend your time on shit that matters. This is not important.
This is how he
It
does
is
it.
just drawing another line, trying to fester up hate from my friends to the south of us. All right. You told me a couple days ago that you're going to Mexico.
Yep.
Why?
I'm going there to relax.
Why the hell would you go there?
It's pretty
inexpensive. All those nasty rapists and murderers and everything in Mexico. You know,
let me tell you.
Why would you? Why do you want to go do a place that's a cesspool of violence and drugs for a vacation?
I am not going. I'm not going to
subject yourself to the indignities of Mexico.
All right. Are you done? Because I'll tell you why. I'm going to a part of Mexico that is highly, highly Americanized,
but it's still Mexico.
highly protected. But are you going to let me speak? Highly, highly. Well, it's been made more safe, and mainly because it's nice and warm there. It's going to be. In fact, I'm probably going to send you some lovely pictures of me sunning on the beach while you're freezing in Atlanta, Georgia.
It's warm in the Bahamas. Go to the Bahamas. It's
the idea that
St. Croix.
The idea that the president is pro-America and is trying to, well, I can fly to Cancun in about 2 hours, man. I don't want to be. I highly prefer that part of Mexico than to, let's say, Chihuahua or you throw a dart at Mexico, I probably wouldn't want to be there compared to even some of the worst places in America.
Go to Mexico in a few days or whatever. You're probably spend a lot of money.
I'm going to the tourist area, and probably that area and several other things is highly, highly funded by Americans. Let's just put it that way.
So what? It's still Mexico. You can't be a little pregnant, man. Either it is or it ain't. It is still Mexico, well, and that is where you're going. You are going.
That's how I see it.
Of Mexico, you need a passport or whatever. I mean, you are going to another country. Right? It doesn't matter if it's 1 billion Americans there. It is still Mexico.
Well, I don't think he's going to be able to change some landmark on the map. Again, this is a strategy.
Useless, man. A waste of time, brain power, resources, and whatever the hell else, man. It's a waste.
We'll see.
Nothing.
We'll see.
It means nothing.
A lot better than giving it away. I can tell you that. All right. Well, look, man.
Enjoy your trip to Mexico, bro.
Again, it would be kind of cool to go over some of the history of some of these things, including Mexico. But one of the things that you brought up, which I actually thought was a really good topic and a complex topic in some ways, and it really would fit the show pretty well, is country music and Black artists over time, and of course right now as well in country music. We didn't really talk about this ahead of time. Well, I'm curious your take on it. This was a topic you brought up. I have a lot to say about it, and I think it'll be really interesting, but I'm going to kind of turn it over to you because I don't know which slant or which way you wanted to go with this, but it is country music consumption by Americans, really globally, is it's I don't know why, but it seems to be increasing and increasing and increasing. In fact, year over year, I think for like the last couple of years, it's like 20%, 22%. Maybe last year is like 15%. What that means is there's a shift of listeners moving towards country music. But I think some of that is also because country music is really not definable anymore. To me, it isn't. And I'm not one of these haters that, it's got to be this type of thing or it's not country. If it's not classical country or if it's not what they would call authentic country or whatever, there's just so much on country radio now, or country streaming especially, that you really can't define it. I mean, country music when you hear it, but some people that are playing what is being classified as country music now some people would say I don't hear country music anymore. Well, that's you, you know. But in my experience over the years, it's, you know, I did a lot of promoting, played music. I was in a country band for a long time. Almost every country venue we played in, and the ones that I promoted, there's literally a DJ and a dance floor, you know, and maybe there's 2 floors or whatever, you know, and it's so this thought that somehow the country music can't have some sort of these different tracks that it goes on. You know, that there can't be a mix between, you know, black artists and or hip hop or whatever else and what you would call classic country just seems crazy to me. It almost seems like I don't know how it took this long for there to be this many artists and this much going on with it. So for me, I like all sorts of music, but you know, we might have listeners or people that listen to country music that absolutely hate modern country music in general, and maybe they don't like certain types of country music, which is being classified as country music. You know, Beyonce just won, what was it, the Female Artist of the Year or something like that. And it'd be good to talk about that and maybe some of the, you know, the different lanes that occupies. But I'm going to shut up now and let you direct this. But I have plenty of stuff. I mean, there's obviously some huge names back in the day. You know, everybody points to Charlie Pride probably first. At least most white people are going to say, yeah, he was the big one. You know, but Ray Charles was back there. In fact, he even made an album called, I don't know, I can't remember, something like Modern Country Music at the time. You know, and you know, and he's known mostly for blues and soul and stuff like that. But you know, country back then was obviously different than the music now. Even what you would call, I don't know, classical country. I mean, you had artists doing that. So anyway, I'm curious how you wanted to take this. What slant you wanted to go on this.
First and foremost, all right, I love country music. Okay, I grew up
Cool.
watching fucking Hee Haw every Saturday
Yeah.
night with my grandmother. Every Saturday night, at 6 o'clock on Channel 41, from 6 to 7, Hee Haw, Roy Clark and Buck Owens. All right,
Yeah.
Minnie Pearl and the Hager twins and all those other folks that on this show. I love Hee Haw, love country
Right.
music. A lot of black folks did. A lot of black folks do. All right, like you said, folks point towards Charlie Pride when they say, "Hey, look, Charlie Pride. You know, he was a black artist, you know, country artist, and he was accepted, so on and so forth." And okay, now let's fast forward because black folks have been digging country music for for a long time. For as long as country music been around, black folks been digging it. All right. Now,
Let me
we,
stop
we
for a
may not have
second.
been digging it from a mainstream standpoint to where it was,
Yeah.
you know, you where you had a bevy of commercial black country artists. That don't mean we don't like it. All right. It don't mean we
Yeah.
don't like it. Now fast
Let
forward to
let me say something real quick. This is good because I don't know this. I mean, you know, I haven't really sat down with you or any of my black friends and say, hey man, what's your take on country music over the years, or you know, how much country music do you listen to? I mean, there's a lot more of that going on where people listen to it now, but you say that country music has always been liked by black people. See, I wouldn't know that, or I would probably assume the opposite. It's not that I'm right about that, or even I just don't know any better. I would assume that most black people didn't listen to it, or didn't like it, or they had an affinity more for R&B or Motown, or obviously, you know, hip hop, rap, or whatever. You don't really see a whole lot of black artists in the industry just because maybe they didn't grow up listening to it or didn't gravitate to it. I don't, you know, obviously there's definitely been some historical uh, racist stuff going on, and I mean, there's literal comments by you can. I mean, this stuff's it's not hidden. I mean, I can go over some of that. But so I don't know why wasn't there more like 10 Charlie Prides or, you know, whatever, you know, along the way. I just assumed that,
there were many Charlie Prides, but only one got a chance to go mainstream. All right, it's a function of the industry, not a function of what actually was. All right, they picked one. I don't want to use the word token, okay, but they picked one just to say, here, look at what we did. Charlie Pride is one of us. Good, but there were thousands more of Charlie Prides who never made it, not because they didn't have the talent, not because they didn't put in the effort, All right, the industry segregated that form, that genre of music, and said, no, you go R&B, you go soul, so on and so forth. Country is ours. You get one. Charlie Pride, get your black ass in here. All right. Now, fast forward to 2024 or 2025, where we're at now, people still up in arms about Beyonce, Shabuzi, and what was the other guy named had the big song a few years ago? Got the horses in the back. What's his name? The one that did the song was Billy Ray Cyrus. That was such a big hit. Everybody got mad because it went to number one.
Lil Nas, Lil Nas,
Lil Nas X, so
X,
forth.
yeah.
And Lil Nas X had amazing success with that particular song, and now it made it okay once again for maybe black artists to say, hey, now I'm going to go ahead and show my love for country music. Beyonce is from Houston, Texas, man. All right. Beyonce grew up on country music like all of us did, man. I grew up in Warner Robins, Georgia, listening to country music, son. All right. And nothing wrong with country music.
Well, I think this goes back to what I was saying at the beginning, that, and this is just me being the white guy, growing up in a white family around white stuff. I always looked at, like, let's say I look at Motown, or you look at R&B in general. There are certain genres of music that were dominated by black performers. I can't say whether they were treated fairly or racism was, there's a whole lot of ways to mess with people, but it just didn't seem like black people. I feel like if there was a lot of good performers performing you can do this now, but let's say back in Charlie Pride's time, you probably can't do. In a little while, we'll put on a Beyonce song. I don't hate her album. It's definitely not classical country, or what you would call authentic country, if you want to define it that way. It's not something that people that love that are going to go and buy her album. It's not because they're racist or that they don't like black people. I just don't think that they like that kind of music.
What is authentic country? All right. Now, if Beyonce was white, would anybody have a problem with her brand of music?
I think that there are people like, I'll just pick this name out.
It's not authentic unless you're white.
No, listen, there's artists that are doing what I would call more of a modern sound, or they're doing more of a hip hop sound that are white. And a lot of these guys, they know that they're not. What is classic country? Stuff like Roy Acuff. There's just a bunch of artists that have that early country sound or whatever. There's some guys that are actually profiting off of that now.
Okay, so if
they're trying to bring that back.
Hold on. So if Roy Acuff said everybody in the club get tipsy, now all of a sudden,
probably wouldn't have worked.
Would that make him a hip hop
probably
artist?
Wouldn't have worked in his generation.
Well, I'm saying,
that's what I'm saying.
Would that then make him a hip hop artist if you said everybody in the club get tipsy?
I think here's a better way of looking at it. The artists that were doing Motown and were doing that sort of stuff were in that channel. You see what I'm saying? So they really weren't trying to pursue a country career because this is the music that they played and probably felt like that most black people wanted to listen to. I'm not saying that black people couldn't listen to country or didn't like it. It just didn't. This is me being the white guy just saying what I think. But today you find that this mix that country has become, there's a wide variety of people listening to it, and they're not outright rejecting it because it doesn't have that classical country sound or whatever you want to define it as. I just feel like people don't have to pick a lane anymore. They can mix stuff up and get into and let's be honest about this too, because country music has been picking up more airplay. There's different ways and reasons for that. There are a lot of pop people that can see that and they're like, you know what? Like, Post Malone, put out a country record. I wouldn't call this guy like the most country dude, but he's trying to like present himself for that. And he's done a pretty respectable job of it. Does everybody like Post Malone's version of country music? No. There's a lot of people that would, just like they would pick on Beyonce, I think he's a little more in the country lane than she is, but it's not that he has to or she has to be. I think her album did well. And if you are open to a lot of music and a lot of different types of music, you don't have to pick a lane anymore. You can streaming has really made it awesome in a way and it's made it where artists like whether you like Morgan Wallen or not, he has his side that is not so much country. It's more of a dance hall or hip hopish type stuff that he's done. The Shabuzi song, oh man, let's put it on real quick.
Oh, by
Just
the way,
hold up, just for
by the way, you do understand that the Shabuzi song is a remake of a hip hop song, right?
I remember everybody in the club getting tipsy song. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll play it for everybody. If you haven't heard this song, it's still like number one for like 36 weeks or something. It's insane.
Oh my, good Lord. Someone pour me up a double shot of whiskey.
Yeah, that song has been out a little while, and it doesn't take. Yeah, and same thing with some of like the Blanco Brown song. That song for me, back in the day, whenever we would be traveling. I'm trying to remember when it came out. The Get Up. I don't know if you remember that song. It was really good. I would play that nonstop to get me going and keep me up on the long trips because sometimes I was the only one awake driving or whatever. I'm sure the band got sick of that song but it was on country radio, and I'm going to say it was maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. A lot of these guys that you're mentioning, like Uncle Brown, this guy Breland, they really haven't put out full albums. They just have a lot of, very streamable hits. So the Lil Nas X, I wouldn't call his album country, the one that he finally put out, but he did have the one song. You know what I mean? What would you define him as?
He's a hip hop artist. Okay. All right. Because
Right.
the bulk of his music is hip hop. All right. But he chose to do a country song. Okay. So
But
that song should be classified in the country genre because it's a country song. So it should be regarded as a country song. Prince did an opera song. But is he an opera artist? No, but he did a song that was operatic. Okay?
Yeah.
Prince did reggae song. Does it make him reggae artist? No. You can dabble in other genres and still be considered and have that particular entry considered, as a member of that particular genre. All right.
Right.
And have his rightful place on the country charts if it's a country song.
Yeah, the Billboard charts, I think, get this right because the artist might put out a song that charts on country from an album that really isn't country. And sometimes a country song will actually end up on the pop charts too. It does work out that way. Well,
it's the term crossover.
Yeah. So, if I'm looking at country music artists, Charlie Pride was obviously huge. And there's no doubt that guy had to do that in a different time for sure. I mean, I think he said Willie Nelson called him the N-word or super N-word or something. I mean, he said this, and George Jones, I think even like there's a story that they spray painted KKK on his car. But from his own words, he said it was just, he knew them well and it was jokes as friends. Now, I don't know. I never heard anything where he got really vocal about it. But again, he's grown up in a time where maybe the pressure of the industry, like you're talking about, made it difficult for someone to really come out and say something. Hey, it's super racist. I don't appreciate this. These people are horrible to me. But without him having some kind of fallout from that. The other big name everybody would point to at least, would be Darius Rucker. I mean, he has, not just with country, obviously he was with Hootie. He did come out, I think, right after the George Floyd thing, and he had I think there was some sort of a interview with the Today Show. I don't know how he would see that now, since that was pretty fresh right after it and everything. Black Lives Matter and all that was huge then, and maybe not such a big deal now. But he actually discussed some of the things he had to endure and whatnot, and he got pretty vocal about it. Beyonce earlier this year, before her album came out, it's almost like she had a bone to pick with how everybody, she joined in with the Dixie Chicks. I don't know if you remember that back in 2016 when they had it was like a collab. That was right about the time. I mean, obviously Trump had just won. So there was a lot of that in the background. There was a lot of stuff in the background going on. But anyway, so Americans in some ways were sort of fed up with certain things. So her joining up with the Dixie Chicks, to me, and doing that particular song and the way that was handled was just a mistake. But I guess it stuck with her. She didn't like that. So anyway, she's probably right now, I guess, the biggest name in Black country music. I mean, who's bigger than her? But I would say a lot of people who are in the business would not call her music classic country. But a lot of these same people, I would say to you, absolutely hate Morgan Wallen's music, and he's huge. I mean, and I'm calling that modern country music. So there are all these channels and lanes, man, and she just won that award as well. I mean, you're going to have people that are haters. Hey, why are they giving this to her? That's not even country music. Some of them pointing at Lainey Wilson, who is white. Hey, she did put out an album. She got, the ACM Entertainer of the Year. She was Female Artist of the Year with ACMs. I think she got like the triple threat, which she won like maybe Song of the Year or something. There was like 3 things she won. But man, those awards and all that stuff, sometimes it's just crazy. Like, I think one year Metallica won something that was not even their genre or something. The industry is weird in that way. Kane Brown is another big name. I don't know if Kane, some people might not even know he's black, but yeah, the dude definitely went through some different things. We actually had him, or my buddy Norm Brewer had him at the Crazy Bull here. Met him, super nice guy, and super energetic, just a positive dude. Seems to be that his life's been positive, and he's still putting out music. And I think, gosh, that was like 2016. That's almost 9 years ago when he came through for the first time. Jimmy Allen was another guy I really liked. Probably one of the best singers and performers I'd ever seen live. And he's a black guy. I was involved in. We had him at the Crazy Bull here in Macon, downtown Macon. We had 1,500 people come out for that show, which is a lot to try to pack into that. The CMT actually was co-promoting that. But the poor guy, I shouldn't say the poor guy, he had some personal, I mean, there was allegations of sexual assault. Then he admitted to his wife to cheating, and he did it publicly. And some of this stuff just really tanked him. And sometimes people's personal, I mean, this happens in country music, not just black, white, all, females, males. So he hasn't really had anything out since 2022, but I'm hearing that he's going to be back on tour this year. So I'm curious how he'll do. Maybe all that stuff's kind of in the background. I mean, people can reform themselves, or get past things if they handle it the right way. But the rest of it to me is, it's like the Breland, Blanco Brown, Willie Jones, that stuff. It's what I would call new country music that isn't in any particular lane. And it because most country venues, they don't play country music between the music acts. They play hip hop, they play dance stuff. They want people to get off their ass and go dance and have a good time. And I just feel like that trend isn't going to go away, and it's probably, if anything, there'll be more of it. That's what I think. But Beyonce's biggest problem for me, I shouldn't say for me, for her, is twofold. You're just going to have people that don't see the country side of that at all.
Yeah,
I
because
tried
she's
to
black. That's why.
I guess
They see the color of her skin. All right. and they're gonna shut. They're gonna close their minds to anything else that she does. All right.
I can play music from her record, and I don't really, I don't mind the record, but it doesn't sound like even modern country. It sounds more of an R&B lane. Now, you can have that sort of stuff and throw hip hop lyrics over it, like a lot of these other artists do, or hip hop beat behind and have country lyrics.
If she did a song talking about her pickup truck and her dog and her trailer and her double wide, you know, and
some of it is that actually.
I mean,
yeah, the Texas Hold'em thing has some country lyrics.
That's the point that I'm making, man. That's the point that I'm making.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Well,
see, and then that's the American way, man. We, putting up barriers, man. Dividing. All right. Why should we even have a black chart and a white chart, country chart, classical chart? So music is music. Okay. If it sounds good and you like it, listen to it. If you listen to it, you don't like it, don't listen to it.
Well, I think some of that is going away, but I do feel like it does help if you specifically like R&B or something, or you specifically like whatever. The fact that they
like hip hop, don't listen to hip hop. If you don't like funk,
right.
don't listen to funk. All right.
But if you do,
if you love bluegrass,
like
damn it, listen to bluegrass.
Well, listen to me. If you do like hip hop and you want to hear the newest songs that are out, then these streaming lists and Billboard charts helps that. You go there and say, hey, this is the new song, or here's what's hot. What might piss you off is if you do like hip hop and then you go there and there's a song that sounds like punk rock. And you're going to be, what the hell is this? Why is this on this?
Dude.
Why is this on the?
Dude, one of the most.
Am I wrong?
Dude, one of the most fun things I do, man, I still do to this day, man. When it comes to music and finding new music, I was going to Spotify, okay, and select country music and just let it play randomly. All right. If I hear a song that I like, I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna save it to my playlist. All right.
That's kind of what I do as well. I just pick the newest song. There's a list that have the newest music, and it's not all classical country. It's pretty diverse.
Hey Siri, play country music.
Yeah.
Okay. And
it's pretty diverse now.
Got the country song. The ones that I like, I add to my playlist. The ones I don't, I don't.
Let me do a quick shout out to my buddy. We got a local guy here named Cam Vance. Have you ever heard of him?
What? Who?
He's a black guy here. He's got a pretty good following. I want to say he's been out maybe the last 4 to 5 years. He's writing his own music. He plays very regularly in Middle Georgia, and then every now and then he's been able to do some shows in Nashville, acoustic stuff, kind of like what we did. I don't know, maybe he's doing more or less than we did. We could have. I didn't think about it till just now, but anyone who says, let me just put it this way. If you come here and watch Cam, I would say probably 95% of his audience is white people. And it's not that he can't bring in, it's not like he's running off any race of people. It's just, I think most people that listen to country music and do it regularly are going to go pay for a ticket or go, make the effort to go watch somebody live. They're mostly white. When I go to these concerts, and I go to a lot of them, a lot of festivals and things where I do see these black artists. A lot of these guys are on the festival circuits, even the ones that haven't put out music in a while. I can't speak for Cam personally because I don't know what his experience as a black dude has been, playing country music, or whether his skin color is affecting his future or his ability to play country music.
Of course it does.
He seems to me to be able to pull in a pretty good crowd, and his draw around Middle Georgia for what he does is pretty good. It seems to be working for him. I think, yeah. Here, he won't care. Let's play one of his. I'm gonna play a little snip of his music, then we'll move on.
3 missed calls from my mama, and I just don't wanna talk. I just need some country music on the radio in my truck. And tell the bartender pour me some strong. Fill it up. Well, I'ma keep it going. I don't know where I'm going. Well, I'ma keep it rolling all night long.
Yeah, that's called All Night Long by him. I don't know. I like him. I think he's good. He's a good singer. He's got a little X factor about him. He definitely, the ladies seem to like him. He seems to be a pretty cool guy. Early on, we were doing full band shows, and we needed some some people to fill in some of the opening or whatever. The dude doesn't need to be opening for anybody now. He's big, and he actually opened up for Travis Denning, who's a hometown boy here, but he's a national artist. So I don't know. In my view, it's just going to be more. There'll be more black artists. There'll be more of this undefinable country music. It's just going to be more undefinable. It's probably going to keep growing for that reason, as far as the number of listeners of it. Where this leads, I'm not even talking about the racism part of it or whatever. I mean, for me, it's impossible for me to even, because I'm white. So whether I can tell you I saw it or didn't see it, or you probably wouldn't believe it or trust it, simply because that's just how it is, man. But I feel like things I would conclude that things are definitely much better than Ray Charles time and Charlie Pride times. It's only going to get better to me. I don't think we're on a downward slope or anything like that. And like you said, if you just love music and it's good, then you know it and you search it out. And in today's world, they're blending so many different genres. Sometimes it doesn't work, at least in my ears. But I don't know. I'm not a hater. I'm actually enjoying a little bit of the revitalization of some of the old classic sound. This Zach Top guy is really super good guitar player, good songwriter. He's got that old school sound, but it doesn't sound like he's cheating, or I don't know. It just sounds authentic for him. If people can do that, or they have a lane like that and they're good at it, shit, man, go do it. And I wish all the best to them. So that's how I'm going to conclude my view on all this, or my thoughts on it. But there's no doubt there has been some contributions. I only know a little bit about what I know from my experience with different artists that I ran into, or just keeping up with them over the years. But I was definitely not around, in Charlie Pride's time, and I certainly am not in the same circles with Beyoncé or whatever they're doing in that whole camp. She's got her own situation going on with the Jay-Z, connection there, and we'll just have to see how that all pans out.
I got one thing to say, man. I got one thing to say.
Sure.
Right? I got one thing to say. Where are you tonight? Why did you leave me here all alone?
You did know the hee-haw. Yeah.
I searched the world over and thought I found true love. You met another and
clap.
You was gone.
Yeah, man. Well, I guess maybe black people did watch some hee-haw, man. Who would have thought it, man?
Hey, man. Hey,
I went to, I don't remember who it was. There was a comedian that he was riding that white-black line with the jokes, which was really good because, he was pointing out, the difference, racial stuff, not racist, and it was some song from the 80s that's totally white, totally, God, man, I don't remember the name of the group, but he started singing it and said, all right, any black people here know this song? And I was like, none of them are going to know this. And they were all singing it. So, I mean, culture, hits you whether you like it or not, and so, I mean, there's definitely songs I know in my brain that I don't really even like the song, but I just know it because it was drummed into my brain on the radio or whatever. You just couldn't avoid it. So, and the song might even have been huge, even though I didn't like it or whatever, but we'll just have to see, man.
I may never get to heaven, but I once came by.
Whatever you do, do not go into country music singing, man. Not that I was good at it, but this is not your calling.
Golden heart or spread celestial wing.
All right, man. We're going to move on to what I'm going to call. I'm going to call, rather than attacking your ears. This will be the last subject. Let's get into, because I do want to talk about it. I always like you're very good at the sports thing.
Okay.
We got the finals coming up. I don't know if you hated the Bulldogs or not. I'm a big Georgia fan, obviously living in Georgia. It's kind of hard to watch our team go down. Seemed like in many ways they beat themselves in some ways, but I also am Catholic, and I'm gonna be honest with you. If Georgia wasn't in the playoffs, I would have been pulling for Notre Dame anyway. And I like Penn State, so it kind of sucks they were all on the same track. So I really don't like any of the other teams personally. It's not personal, honestly. I'm a little sick of Ohio State, but a lot of people were sick of Alabama. A lot of people were sick of Georgia for a while there. So it's more of that. I can respect the team. I can respect the players. So it's not like a personal hate or anything like that. I don't have anything. So for me, I'm going to be pulling for Notre Dame just simply because I'm Catholic. My dad was a huge fan, and I've been watching them all year. So it's kind of, I've been watching Penn State all year as well. So it's kind of cool seeing hard-nosed football. It'll be interesting to see which of these teams actually makes it to the end. I'm predicting it will be Notre Dame versus Ohio State. That's what I'm thinking it's going to end up being. Now, it'll probably end up being Texas versus Penn State just to make me look stupid. But I'm not as key into all this stuff as you are. But I would love to see Notre Dame take it all. I think I didn't say that because of this reason. But it looks like they did a poll in the nation, and I think a lot of people are pulling for Notre Dame. Usually they're not pulling for Notre Dame whenever they're in the playoffs, but for whatever reason, I guess maybe they're sick of the other teams or something. I don't know. But what's your feeling on this, and who you got on this playoffs, and any other tidbits you want to have for us, man?
Okay, all right. Notre Dame has a really, really good defense. The offense is average at best. Their quarterback is average at best, but they have a stellar defense. So I think if Notre Dame is going to win, it'll be predicated on their defense. Now, Penn State is more balanced when it comes to their offense. They have a strong passing game and a strong running game, and they have an above average defense, not as good as Notre Dame's defense. All right, and I think this game is going to be won on the line of scrimmage. Whoever can run the ball more effectively is going to win. I'm believing that Notre Dame will have the advantage in the trenches, and the only way that Notre Dame loses the game will be if they turn the ball over. So I'm picking Notre Dame to defeat Penn State.
Okay, cool.
I love Georgia. I've been a Georgia fan since January 1st, 1976. All right, so I'm a diehard Georgia fan, and I hate the fact that Notre Dame beat them. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not gonna get deep into that, but anyways, I'm a Georgia fan first, then I'm an SEC fan. All right,
I got you.
SEC.
A lot of people are that way, honestly.
Yeah, so I'm pulling for Texas. Plus, I lived in Texas for 7 years. I went to a lot of Longhorn games, events, so on and so forth, because I lived in San Antonio, which is about an hour from Austin. All right, and I took classes at University of Texas, so I do have Texas connections. But Ohio State has the most complete team, offense and defense, that's left in college football, and their offense is finally starting to click. Texas offense is inconsistent at best. Right? Yeah. They'll play a quarter or two where they're world beaters, but they'll play a quarter or two where they can't move the ball 10 feet. All right, so I think that inconsistency is going to catch up to them. It caught up to them against Georgia twice. All right.
Yep.
That's why Georgia beat them, because Texas was inconsistent on offense. And I think the same thing is going to happen with Ohio State. So I'm picking Ohio State to take on Notre Dame in the national championship game, and I'm picking Ohio State to beat the brakes off of Notre Dame.
Yeah, and I agree with you. If I had to put money on it, I'm thinking Ohio State's going to win. If I'm voting with my heart or what I want, it's Notre Dame.
The best team left is Ohio State. Now, I'm saying this, and not because I'm a Georgia fan, so on and so forth, but if Carson Beck hadn't got hurt, Georgia would win the national championship.
Yeah, we'll never know. That's the thing about it, man.
Yeah, so, that was really unfortunate what happened, but I think Georgia definitely would have won the national championship if Carson had not gotten injured. But that's the nature of sports, man. You never know. So
there was some people that were giving him a lot of grief, but I think there was a lot of drop balls this year. There was some guys that were running routes completely the wrong way. Georgia played
the toughest schedule in all of college football. They played Texas, Alabama, Ole Miss, Clemson, Tennessee. All right, they were battle tested and proven. All right, they won the majority of those games. They lost 2, won 3 of them against the best competition. All right.
Yep.
All right. And Notre Dame is nowhere near Georgia's class, but they caught Georgia at the right time. All right, caught them at the right time. Now, keep in mind, even though they beat Georgia, we had a turnover. They had the turnover at the end of the first half, and they scored the short touchdown and the kickoff return. Minus those 2, Georgia wins. So it's not like Notre Dame blew them out. All right.
Yeah, it wasn't a blowout game.
Huh?
Right. All right.
Right.
and the turnovers at the wrong times and stuff
Yeah.
like that. It'd be
Yeah.
interesting to
Well,
see how this.
when
I guess they're
when
going to
you got a
have
young
Gunner be the.
quarterback, huh?
Yeah, I'm guessing he's going to be the quarterback next year for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
You know
we'll
what?
see how that
He gets a
turns out.
full spring practice as the number one. I think Stockton's going to be fine. I think
Yeah.
he's going to be another. He's going to be a Stetson Bennett 2.0. All right.
Yeah,
I
and the
think
guy
Gunner will be fine. But it was just
he's
he was pressed into action. He just wasn't ready for it. All right.
yeah.
All right. He just wasn't
Well,
ready for it. But
he
give him a
seemed like
full
a tough
spring,
guy.
huh?
He seemed like a really strong, tough guy. I mean, he took some major hits.
Gunner Stockton will be. You're not going to recognize him next fall. He's going to go through a full spring as the number one guy. He's going to go through a full training camp as the number one guy. I tell you now, whenever football season starts in 2025, watch out. Gunner Stockton is going to be. He will be a Heisman candidate.
Yeah, cool. What's your thoughts on? I haven't read a lot, but are they going to have the same coaching staff next year at Georgia, or is this?
No,
there's maybe been some rumblings on changes.
Every year Georgia loses, a couple coaches. I don't think they're going to lose Mike Bobo as the offensive coordinator, which is good. You want that continuity. Mike Bobo is a great offensive coordinator. Folks want to blame him when they lose, but Georgia had one of the most diverse offenses, in all of college football. Mike Bobo calls a great game. All right. And he and Carson.
There's a lot of people that would disagree with you on that, and they disagree with you on Carson too, which is it's because people get emotional about stuff.
Carson had 2 bad games. He went to a stretch in the middle of the season where he threw a bunch of interceptions, man, but he cleaned that up. Okay, he cleaned that up. And point to the Georgia Tech game. They were dead in the water, man. They were dead in the water.
That was a wild game, man.
Yeah.
That was a wild one.
Yeah. Even the Alabama game, they were dead in the water against Alabama, came back and took the lead. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So I don't buy into the whole Mike Bobo is a terrible coach, so on and so forth. Get rid of Mike Bobo. Hell no. All right. Just for one, just get more consistent wide receivers who catch the damn ball. So
all right. Well, we got playoff weekend as far as the NFL, and then we'll call it a night. It's the playoffs, right? I mean,
yeah,
I didn't search out the matchups, but
Pittsburgh and
it feels like Ohio State's going to win the college one. So who we looking at? Probably going to run all the way to the Super Bowl.
Oh man,
I mean, there's some good teams. Definitely some good teams. Obviously, KC, the Ravens look good. The Eagles look good. Detroit looks amazing. Those are probably one of those 4 teams is what I'm guessing is going to go all the way.
I'm going to go out. I love Kansas City. I love Patrick Mahomes, but I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to pick Baltimore to win the AFC, and I'm picking Detroit to win the NFC, and I am picking the Detroit Lions to win the Super Bowl.
Well, they look amazing. They do look amazing.
Yes.
And when the Eagles are on, and that guy what's the running back? Oh man, he's so good.
Saquon.
Can't think of his. Yeah, man. When he's on, and he's just blasting through the line. It's hard to beat them as well. It just makes it hard.
Yep.
Because they can just destroy the clock.
Nobody's going into Detroit. Detroit has a home field advantage. Nobody's going into Detroit and winning in that building. Ain't happening. Happening.
So Buffalo, no chance.
I think Buffalo.
Everybody's got a chance.
I think there's a good chance Buffalo loses this weekend. They're playing against Denver.
It seems like it's such an unlucky team because I mean they have all the talent and that Josh always looks good, and then it's like it always unravels in the playoffs. For some
Denver
reason
Denver has a really good defense. The downside is they got a rookie quarterback, Bo Nix, but Denver has a really I think Denver's defense matches up well against Buffalo because Denver has a great defensive secondary. All right, they have a good.
Yeah, so the throwing isn't passing.
They can play man to man and put 7 men in the box. All right, to control the run. All right.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to see Buffalo. Denver playing a lot of man-to-man coverage on the outside. All right.
Yeah.
Having a spy on Josh Allen. All right, and keeping a 7-man box to take away the run. All right. So if Buffalo beats Denver, it'll be because they're able to beat the man press coverage. Good luck with that.
What do you think's Detroit's weakness?
Detroit's weakness is their defense. They've had so many injuries on defense.
They have to run the score up, right? Wouldn't you say?
See, Detroit, I think they got like 12 guys from their defense on injured reserve. Right, so they're playing third stringers. All right, but if you saw
Wow.
the game just this past Sunday night against Minnesota, man, they
I
played
did.
great. They
They
played
did.
great.
They did.
All right, and
And that wasn't an
they
easy
played
team
straight
either.
man to man. They played straight man to
Yeah.
man as well. Upside is they're getting a lot of those guys back that were injured for the playoffs.
Okay, I didn't know that.
That's
Okay.
the only weakness that Detroit really has is their defense. But I think they're getting healthy at the right time. All right, and their offense is unstoppable. All right, it's hard to stop their offense. So I think
Yeah.
that Detroit will be the most well-rounded team. Come the playoffs.
Yeah.
And
I
of course
look
they
at
have a
them.
bye.
I look at them and Buffalo similar in that they just score a lot, but sometimes their defense gives up too much. So, but if you're outscoring your opponent, then you win. I mean, that's just
That's the name of the game.
so.
That's the name of the
If
game.
you got somebody that has a really super good defense, maybe that doesn't work so well.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to see how that goes. Did they pick the MVP this year?
Not yet. That doesn't come until I think after the season that the MVP is
Don't
named.
Don't you feel like it's the Baltimore quarterback again? I mean, I know it gets a little old seeing same guys, but I mean, he's just had a great year, man.
Yeah, he's had his best year yet. So yeah, my pick.
I mean, I don't see.
My pick is
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson, but I think Josh Allen's
Yeah.
going to win it.
Well, I think on stats, how can he? I don't know how they can give it one over the other unless you just say it's your turn or something. I mean,
Yeah, it's basically Josh Allen's turn.
I don't really have like I like this guy over that guy type problems at all. I mean, neither one of those teams I pull for. I'm a Steeler, so I hate the Ravens most of the time, but I can respect the team, and it's a marvel to watch them. I don't think the Steelers has a chance. I mean, I'll hope for them, but yeah,
No.
I've always been a Patriots fan, so the Buffalo, usually I don't have a hate on for them, but always was pulling for the Patriots. Obviously, the Patriots are bottom dwellers,
Terrible.
as of late.
Yeah,
but but again, I got a lot of buddies that live in New York, and they love that Buffalo team, and it's got a really cool, what do you want to call it, the fan base and all their little traditions and things are pretty cool. Well, we'll just have to see how it goes, man. At some point, we need to get together and watch a football game, man.
absolutely, man.
Yeah, I've thought about going to the Falcons games, but they were just way too expensive this year.
No,
and I'm like, they're not that good, guys.
No.
Come on, what is going on? I just couldn't pull the trigger on the cost, man, because I was like, they're not going to be in the playoffs.
The thing about the Falcon games is the atmosphere. It's a great experience.
Right, right.
Don't go there to watch. Don't go there to watch the team. Go there for the experience, man.
Well, it could still cost you, a couple of Benjamins just to go sit in the crap seat, whatever. For I don't know. I just don't. I don't know. I cook me some hot dogs right here and watch it here if they're going to end up winning in the last or losing in the last minute like they always do whenever the crunch time comes. Man, it's almost like they've made a habit out of that over the years. But one of these years they're gonna come out okay.
Huh?
The new quarterback did okay. I thought he did all right.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be fine. He's gonna be fine. But I mean, but the Falcons are gonna be the Falcons. So, you can count on
sucks
that.
to say that, man. All right, man. Well, it'll be basketball time here soon. We'll try to get up there and watch some of that with you as well, man.
Oh, no doubt, man. Say the word.
Yeah, I don't think we've done that yet. So
yeah. We should.
All right, look, man. Hopefully this first show, little taste of kind of a mix of stuff that we're gonna try to bring
ironing
out
here.
Obviously, first show, learning how to do things and riffing off one another. I always learn something whenever I hear my buddy Alonzo speak. Obviously, we have different beliefs on certain things and strong feelings about certain things, and we'll see how that pans out over the years. But remain friends with him this long, so I don't see why that would change. And I'm hoping in the future to learn a lot more from you and to riff on a lot of different subjects in the future. Pick some good ones, man. I really enjoyed talking with you. So tune in. We'll try to do this about once a week if we can.
Yeah.
Something like that, or every 10 days or something like that.
To the folks out there listening, the fact that you disagree, I mean, you got to hate each other. Okay.
True. That's right,
man.
Okay
to disagree. All right. That makes the world what it is. We're all different. We have our own different agendas, own different opinions, so on and so forth. But none of that has to equal hate.
Yeah, and you always will feel better if you try to learn why someone thinks what they think.
Yep.
And I've found many times that nobody's wrong. It's just a different view on things.
Yep.
So sometimes things are just wrong, and you got to figure that out and you learn. And so, learning a little bit about each culture or each other's thoughts, views, how you were raised, what you're born up in, the experiences you had. Clearly, I'm white. Clearly, he's black. I've got my own set of things. He's got his own set of things. But in the end, still living in, I think, the best nation on earth.
Absolutely.
And hoping for good things as America continues on. And if I win the lottery, I'm gonna enjoy having you on my yacht in the Gulf of America. I can't wait to take you out to the Gulf of America. Okay, man.
Can't wait, man. Can't wait. Go for
all right.
Pluto.
All right. We're about to check out. Peace, everybody.
Later.
Catch us next time.
No doubt.
Later, man.